What up, my Negroes? What's good with y'all? Yo, I got to do some traveling today, and I'm not gonna be able to. I'm not gonna be able to shoot my podcast in my regular time tonight. So I say I stick to Mondays and Wednesdays, and I do what I can to keep to that word. I think I might have missed one day, but I made up for it the following day, and then just recently, it's like I had to record at 11 headed into midnight. So I mean, like, technically it was on Monday, but still. Anywho, how y'all doing today? I hope you're doing well. I uh i'm chilling, man. I'm about to go see my little boy, so I like that. That's my guy. I love him to death. Yo, man, because I don't have a whole lot of time, I'm probably just going to get directly into the subject, the content of the podcast today, and that's living for the flesh, right? I'm not a Bible thumper. There's a lot of folks out there who just love thumping the Bible, trying to use religion as a weapon to subdue others with towards exerting their own sense of power and authority over them. There are a lot of people who only care about, God, religion, and all ideals pertaining to those things, because those things, they sort of give the person a sense of authority over others. You know what I'm saying? So you got a lot of people out here Bible thumping, and they don't read the Bible for any reason other than to, you know, well, reinforce the notion that they are inherently right, that they're inherently good, and as such, they have a very dispensational approach to reading through the scriptures. They don't read the whole thing or try to understand it in context. They go cherry picking for things that say that they are right and that other people should yield and conform to their sense of authority, their inner sense of justice. The book of Romans, chapter 8, basically gets into the subject of living for the flesh. I'm not going to read it. You should probably go read it. But, I don't necessarily endorse all things pertaining to the Bible. Everything that Jesus said, I check off on it. Like, yeah, that's legit. But, a lot of things that were sort of derived from Jesus's teachings that were sort of scattered throughout the subsequent, chapters and books of the Bible. Those things have relevance too. Talk about living for the flesh, right? Living for the flesh. Another way to say that is living for the social identity, living for the character. The reason why I mention this is because, the reason why I'm even talking about it today is because, so many people, they live their lives exclusively for pleasure. They live their lives like there is no tomorrow, like they'll never age, like they'll never get old, like they'll never have to deal with the decisions they make today, in the ways of impacts onto their bodies that are ultimately going to haunt them tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I shot a podcast or I wrote a post about it. But, you start looking at all these beautiful people in the world. One day they're going to be wrinkly and old. Everything that gives them value now is going to be gone. And they live exclusively for their identities. They live exclusively for how beautifully they project to others. They live for how desirable they are. You know what I'm saying? And here's the thing. If you're a hot woman, it's only going to be so many years that your breasts are perky. It's only going to be so many years that your vag is nice and moist. You're not going to have a wop forever. And if you make all sorts of decisions now based on, something that is impermanent, you're going to have to live with the consequences of your decisions down the road. So many beautiful young women who could invest their beauty into finding a suitable mate, someone who cares for them and loves them and will take care of them for years beyond when their looks fade. They waste their time living for their identities, living for the flesh. They got their OnlyFans, and they have multiple lovers that they're swapping out here and there, and they're doing everything to satisfy themselves. And unfortunately, they never learn how to build meaningful connections. They never learn how to think above the level of self-interest. They never learn how to sort of, push through discomfort and dismay towards achieving a higher sense, a higher level of self. They live exclusively for the flesh. And then as the flesh ages, the bitterness sets in. These niggas ain't shit. Because nobody showed up and did the job, did the task of loving them in the way they felt they deserved, because they never brought love to the table. The only thing they brought to the table was flesh. The only thing they brought to the table was desire. And desires for the flesh. Everybody's ready to settle down when there's nothing left to give within them. When there's no value left in them, they're ready to settle down. Hey, put up with my bullshit because I used to be hot. That doesn't fly. Not in reality. When you live for the flesh, you're lost in idealism. You're lost in this fantasy that your flesh is going to remain young, nubile, and intact for the duration of your days. Some of us are blessed to be able to age gracefully and look decent as the years pile on. Some of us not so much. And ironically, it's the ones who live for the flesh that end up burning through theirs the quickest. Look at all these young dudes out here, knuckling up, drinking, smoking all the time, living exclusively for escapes and to satisfy their flesh, to gratify themselves. To what end? All they're left with is a bitter attitude. Bitches ain't shit. Because nobody showed up and loved them the way they thought they deserved love, because they were so busy living for themselves that they never learned how to form meaningful connections and to build a relationship. What is a relationship? A relationship is a system of interactions that form or that develop whenever a symbiotic bond is formed between two people. When somebody becomes an extension of your true self. When somebody, Brother Absurd, I see you. Give me just 1 second. When somebody becomes an extension of your true self, and their pain becomes your pain, and their loss becomes your loss, but their triumphs become your triumphs, and their joy becomes your joy. When you have that bond, with somebody, and guess what? You can build anything together. We get taught that our flesh is a type of currency. And it is. It is in society. When you're young, you're a strapping young man. Why? If you look good enough, you can be a model. And if you're built strong enough, you can be a laborer of sorts. You can spend as much time as you possibly can sort of investing in and capitalizing on your flesh in society, but the years will pile on. All of a sudden, there was a little twitch in your knee yesterday will become arthritis tomorrow. A little nag in your shoulder becomes frozen shoulder. And all of a sudden you walk in hunched over. That Nice, hard, strong erection. Shit'll go away. The kind of girls that you're going to be able to pull. The pool shrinks. And all you're left with is an opportunity to choose from a pool of bitter old women who did the exact same thing you did with your flesh. Wasted on trying to be a character of interest in society. Look at what you do to your flesh. Most people, they get out here and they treat their flesh like it's a slave. They treat it like it's their slave. Some people abuse it and starve it so that it looks like the sculpture they want to project to society. Some people just brand theirs. They treat their skin like it's a coloring book. They pierce themselves up. They do all these things to enhance their flesh. Some people are so given to like, you know, their the type of stimulation they like towards sexual gratification that they physically alter themselves with surgery so as to project the image, project their identity to their desired audiences. Yeah, it's a lot going on, man. It's a lot going on, and wow, I just got a message. I'm sorry, forgive me. So, the point that I was making before I got interrupted with the message that just came through, is that if you live for your flesh, you're living for today. If you live for your flesh, you're living for today. Period. When you live for today, there's nothing left for you tomorrow. When you live for today, there's nothing left for you tomorrow. And then all of a sudden, you're going to sit around pointing your finger at and judging all the people who are still young and still living for their flesh. Like, oh, look at them wasting their potential. Look at them wasting their lives. I wrote a poem, and then I want to get to Brother Absurd's comment. I wrote a poem a while ago, and I wrote it when I was down in a bar in Atlanta. And it was this girl who was in the bar. She was doing her best. I guess it was some narcissistic shit. I guess she was doing her best to try and get my attention towards... She's doing her best to get my attention, only to have the power to sort of scoff me, right? And I wrote this poem on the spot. Now I went home and wrote it out, but it's like I can write like that, so I can actually write pieces in my head and get to it and write it out later. But anyway, it was called Pretty Girl, and it went like this. It goes, beauty pays its tax to time. Supple woman so sublime. Seeds you've sown will bear their yield in a stark and barren field. Watch your hope and saving grace walk lines upon your aging face, to count your hairs and make them white, from dawn till noon, from dusk till night. You've reached for glory and missed by miles. Your youth you waste on manly wiles. Why give yourself to men who say sweet things to while your time away? For there'll be nothing left of you but thoughts of things you cannot do. Then envy in your heart of green for the newer, younger beauty queen, and you will judge her chin erect for what she does to gain respect. For there's no substance in her way. Her face is made of paint and clay. And she'll brush her hair and mind her charms and tend her waist and oil her arms, and bat her lash, and use her form to make men smile and keep them warm. And you'll be jealous, know it's true, and hate her twice because she's you. So little does your interest gain when only withered flesh remain. When you live for the flesh, you live for today. When you invest your full potential as a life form into just being the shell you are in the present moment, there's nothing left for you when the shell fades away. The shell fades away. When it erodes, when your pole goes limp, your little vag, your little cooch dries up, your titties hang low, both men and women. There's nothing left. Brother Absurd wrote, Woo, Donald, gotta catch you before I'm due at work. Quick question, if you can. How do you bring something other than desire, especially if it's what's guiding you? Ooh, that's a great question, and sorry about brother other than desire to the table. And sorry about getting back to you so late. It's like I was trying to dial in. I'm still trying to dial in because I'm limited on time. Brother Absurd, that's a great question. And when you bring something to the table other than desire is very parasitic, right? When you come to the table with desire alone, you're always going to be looking to benefit at the expense of whoever or whatever you're coming to. Desire leads you there for the purpose of consumption. When you're thinking in terms of symbiosis, when you're thinking in terms of mutualism, what you want to bring to the table is just mutual effort, and more often than not, that takes shape in the form of all the things you want to do in order to enhance and bring value to someone else. I know that in my interactions with people, my very first thought is always, how do I demonstrate to this person how valuable they are to me? How do I demonstrate to this person all the ways in which I want to transfer this feeling of appreciation and gratitude I have for them into them? And that puts me in the headspace where I'm not coming to people necessarily with desire. It's like, yo, hey, how am I going to bring value to you? And if you're fortunate, you find someone who thinks in that same way, and together you build wonderful things together. I said together twice, but yeah. You can build beautiful things together when you have that energy. But if you come to the table just being driven by desire, more than likely you're going to be narcissistic. When you're of the parasitic mind, you're thinking primarily in terms of exploitation. When you're thinking primarily in terms of exploitation, then you are thinking in terms of competition. You have to dominate someone in order to benefit at their expense, which means you're trying to compete against them, which means you're trying to aggress against them, which means you already see yourself as being inherently superior to them and or more deserving of benefits, satisfaction, and rewards than they are. When you come to people, you come thinking about how you're going to bring benefit to them, not necessarily how they're going to benefit you. And in that sense, you steer clear of letting desire run the show for you. So yeah, that's the easiest way to say it. And like I said, I'm limited on time today, guys, so I'm definitely going to have to cut this short. But look here. Living for the flesh is living for today. You're thinking about how your body is now. You're thinking about how you look now. You're thinking about the value you're able to capture from society now based on how you are now. pardon me, you're thinking about all the ways in which you want to feel good, not all the ways in which you need to be strengthened and grow and learn how to become adaptive. You're thinking about all the comforts of the flesh and all the comforts that you can experience that how your flesh projects to others can bring to you. Hopefully I said that right. But at the end of the day, if you're living for the flesh, you're living for the here and now. And you're living for comfort. You're living for escapes. And you're living for, you're lost in idealism. You see, in idealism, you're young forever. In idealism, you're desirable forever. In idealism, you're valuable forever. In idealism, you're a privilege to capture. You're a privilege to score. In reality, though, you're just one organism. You're part of a species. At least half the population is imbued with the same genitals as you. Even if you're the prettiest person on your block, you're not the prettiest person in the species. Everything you do to comfort your flesh now is fleeting. You can only have so many orgasms. You can only get so high before you die. You can only get high for so many years before it makes a detrimental impact on your health. You shouldn't live for the flesh. It's an easy way to waste your potential and your opportunity to, in this lifetime, learn how to sync up with reality so as to spare yourself from a most horrific fate on the back end of this experience. Guys, like I said, this is going to be a short one because I had to make sure that I kept to my schedule. Guys, you already know what it is. You can check me out on social media platforms. Obviously, I shoot this on Facebook Live on Mondays and Wednesdays. And also I post content to Instagram under Avatar Cycle XIII, Avatar Cycle 13. I fly these videos over to my YouTube channel. You can check them out there. I am yeah, you can just check them out on my YouTube channel. I'll post the link to my page before too long. And this is, I think, episode 92. Episode 92. Also, I post content to Medium. Guys, if you get any sort of benefit out of what I do and you want to see me reach a larger platform, then you can always feel free to donate. As some of you who really stepped forward and done recently, I wanted to shout out Brother Angel. Thank you so much for just always being good, man. You've been like here for a minute, really helping things move along and get organized on this end, and I appreciate you greatly. Anybody else, if you want to, and Brother Absurd as well, and my brothers Camille and Brother Mark, yes, and Sister Mo, like y'all, some of y'all step forward and you're like, yo, man, hey, you're doing good work. Here's a little love, man, to help you in that way, and my appreciation to you so much. Like from the bottom of my heart, thank you. If anybody else wants to join in and you want to help, me continue to put this work out and try and explain principles as best as I can while I have time to, while I'm still in this body, because again, flesh expires. You can always join the Patreon family. I'm at Avatar Cycle XIII, Avatar Cycle 13, or you can just salt bay me a little bit of love on Cash App. I'm Donnie Kang. That's DONNIEKANG at on Cash App. Again, proceeds go to building this up to a larger platform, sort of helping to organize things on this end. I want to reach as many people as I can before I'm out of this body. Hopefully my time constraints haven't made me butcher this too much, but we'll give a final thought and then I'm going to have to bounce because I got to get on the road to see my little boy. I love my kid. Excellent. Yo, yeah, guys, look, don't live exclusively for your flesh. Don't make hard decisions about the future based exclusively on your flesh or ideas you develop based on your flesh. Look at the greatest fighters in the world. Everybody thinks they're a badass Nobody has whooped time's ass yet. You'll be the best fighter today. It's only a matter of time until an Israel Adesanya comes up and just demolishes you. And it's only a matter of time before someone comes along and demolishes him. These people, they give their entire lives to their flesh. And unfortunately, they never spend enough time learning how to understand reality. They never spend enough time learning how to be honest. They never spend enough time syncing up with the world so that their spirit is balanced, right, exiting the mortal coil. So all they have are these memories of what they were able to do with their flesh and experiences. And, well, when you pass on from the human life, when you don't have this brain, memories cease to be. And it will be all for naught. Instead of investing in your flesh, build yourself up to becoming a better person. Practice reasoning, practice honesty. Use these things to purify your spirit. Learn how to be a potent person regardless of how your flesh projects to others. Learn how to be interesting. Learn how to be talented. Learn how to be something unique without having to hide behind a flesh suit. When you're truly beautiful, when you're truly realized as a human being, it doesn't matter how ugly your mug is. I'm living proof. Something shines through you that makes you beautiful anyway. Yo, I appreciate y'all for tuning in, whoever was able to, and I hope y'all have a wonderful day. It's your man, I'm out.